It was a sunny afternoon in the village of Alderbrook, where the air smelled like wildflowers and fresh baked bread from the bakery down the road. The sky was bright blue, and birds sang softly in the garden. Inside a small cottage with white walls and a red door, a little girl sat beside her mother, holding her hand tightly. Her name was Ellie. She was 7 years old, with golden brown hair and eyes full of wonder and worry. Her mother lay in bed, her face calm and kind, though her body was tired. The sunlight came through the window and touched her face gently, like a kiss from the sky. Ellie looked at her mum and whispered, "You're not going to leave me, right?" Her mother gave a small, warm smile, even though it was hard for her to speak. "My sweet girl, if I could stay forever, I would." Tears welled up in Ellie's eyes. She tried to be brave, but her little heart was full of fear. Her mum reached out and touched Ellie's cheek. "When I go, and you miss me, talk to God. He will be listening." Ellie blinked, confused. "You mean, like praying?" "Yes," her mother said, her voice soft. "Tell him how you feel. Tell him about your day. And tell him about me. Will you do that?" Ellie nodded, trying not to cry. "I will tell God," she said, her voice full of emotion. "I promise." And in that sunny little room, with the scent of roses from the garden and the warmth of love all around them, a sacred promise was made. A promise that would carry Ellie through the hardest days of her life. A week later, the cottage was quiet. The laughter that once filled its rooms was gone. Neighbors came with flowers and soft voices, and Ellie wore a dress she didn't like, holding her dad's hand at the small village church. Her mother had passed away peacefully one morning, with Ellie asleep beside her, still holding her hand. Ellie didn't understand everything, but she knew one thing: her mum was gone. At the funeral, she clutched a piece of paper she had written with the help of her teacher. It was a letter to God. "Dear God, please take care of my mummy. She likes tea with honey and roses in the window. She reads stories before bed and sings when she cooks. Tell her I love her. Love, Ellie." She placed it gently beside the wooden box that held her mum, and whispered, "I told God." Years passed. Ellie grew older, but she never forgot the promise. Whenever life felt too heavy or confusing, she would sit by her window, close her eyes, and talk to God. At 10, she would tell him about school, how she missed her mum's help with homework. At 12, she told God about her new friend, Lily, who reminded her of sunshine. At 15, she told him about her first heartbreak, and how she cried into her pillow, whispering, "Why did she have to go?" Ellie never heard God's voice, but somehow, after talking to him, her heart felt lighter. When Ellie turned 17, her father lost his job. Money was tight, and the cottage began to fall apart. Some nights, Ellie skipped dinner so her little brother Jamie could eat. One evening, sitting by her mother's old chair, Ellie cried and prayed out loud. "God, I don't understand why things keep getting harder. I'm trying to be strong, like Mum said. Please help us." The next week, a woman from the church came by. She brought groceries, offered to fix a leak in the roof, and found Ellie's dad work through a friend. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Ellie looked up at the sky that night and whispered, "Thank you. I told you, and you listened." At 19, Ellie left Alderbrook to attend university. She studied child psychology because she wanted to help kids who felt broken, just like she had. Leaving home was hard, especially saying goodbye to Jamie, who was now 11. Her dorm room felt empty the first night. Ellie sat by the window, looking at the stars. "God, it's me again. I'm scared, but I'm trying. Mum would want me to try. Please stay close." She felt a strange peace, like a hand on her shoulder, and she smiled through her tears. In her second year, Ellie met Tom. He had kind eyes and a gentle way of speaking, and he listened to her in a way that made her feel safe. They became friends, then slowly, something more. One evening, Ellie told him about her mother. "She made me promise I'd talk to God. And I still do." Tom took her hand. "That's beautiful. I think your mum would be proud." For the first time, Ellie believed that too. After graduation, Ellie and Tom moved back to Alderbrook and got married in the same church where her mother had been laid to rest. Life was hopeful again, but when Ellie was 25, she lost her first baby in the second trimester. The nursery she had painted with so much joy stayed empty. Ellie shut herself in the room for days. Her prayers turned into silence. God, where were you this time? She felt nothing. Weeks later, she visited her mother's grave and cried for a long time. Then, finally, she whispered, I'm still here. And I'll keep talking, even when it hurts. At 28, Ellie gave birth to a daughter. They named her Grace. When she held Grace in her arms for the first time, Ellie felt like the world had paused. Her tears weren't from sadness anymore. Mum, she whispered in the quiet hospital room, I kept the promise. She looked up, smiled through her tears, and said softly, I will tell God. Every day, and I'll teach Grace to do the same. Grace grew up with bedtime stories and warm hugs, and each night, Ellie would kneel by her daughter's bed and say, tell God how you feel. He listens. One day, Grace asked, did he always listen to you, Mummy? Ellie looked at her, brushed her hair gently, and said, not always in the way I wanted. But always in the way I needed. When Ellie turned 60, she walked her daughter down the aisle. She held Grace's baby in her arms months later, whispering the same promise, I will tell God. That night, Ellie sat under the stars with her journal. She wrote a letter to her mum. Dear Mum, I kept the promise. I talked to him through joy, loss, love, and pain. I didn't always understand, but I never gave up. You gave me the gift of faith, and I passed it on. Your voice still lives in my heart. And now, it lives in Grace's. And one day, in her children too. With love forever, Ellie. She closed the book, looked at the sky, and smiled. I told God. And I always will. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.